Good evening, everybody. And once again, welcome to your live Investment Dominator Q&A call. And again, my name is Warren Davis, and we're here on this beautiful Monday. It is Monday again, huh? The 21st. And I am getting this up on the screen, my Investment Dominator screen. We're going to get your questions answered. It is Monday the 21st, and so glad that everybody is on the call. Got quite a few of you on the call today. Looks like Brian from Arkansas is back. All right, Brian, I like your comments. Brian says, we're smoking over here in Arkansas. Sounding and video are A-OK. That is good news. Good news. And I want to thank you all for your questions coming in. I see some questions already hitting the airways. That's great. Let's see. Even before we get to the point where we're getting our questions answered, we want to make sure those of you that are new with us, remember how to put in your questions. I don't see right now any brand new names, but these names I've seen so far, I've seen on the call before. So all of you should probably know how to answer or put in your questions. And if you would, please, like you've been doing and doing such a great job at it, putting your question mark before the question or putting the word question in front of the question. That helps me to distinguish between comments and questions so that I can enjoy the great comments that you all send in. Good afternoon to Carlos. And we're going to jump right into getting your questions answered. I do have a couple of, I guess it would be considered public service announcements that I want to make sure that we share with everybody. As you, I think I have stated, some of you may not be on the Thursday call. Don, I'm not sure what Don is saying. There's an echo. I'm not hearing an echo on my side. So the only time I know that there may be an echo, it does happen. Okay, so it might be just on your phone because I've got a couple other folks say there's no echo on their end. Sometimes if you have an option, you can call in to this line, but you can also come in via your computer. So if you did call in and at the same time you have your computer audio on as well, that does create an echo. So if you could check that, Don, hopefully your echo will go away. And okay, PC only. It sounds like I'm in a large hall. Well, yeah, I'm in my home office. I guarantee it's definitely not a large hall. But in any case, we'll see. I'll check my volume here to make sure. No, it's down pretty normal. It's normal decibel. So I'm sorry that you have to deal with that, Don. But I'm not hearing an echo here on my end. Did want to share with you that Thursday's webinar will be canceled if you happen to. I know some of the names that I'm seeing also show up you all show up on Thursday, which I really, really appreciate. Those of you that are showing up and especially asking your questions, because your questions help so many people at the same time. So I do want to say that a lot of times we don't tell folks how much we appreciate what they're doing, so you really have no visibility. But I want you to know I appreciate your questions. Other people appreciate your questions when we can get them answered here. And I've heard so many individuals come back and say to me when I'm on the onboard calls with them that, hey, we listened to some of those questions, especially for the last several weeks, and those questions that you all have asked have really been helping other individuals that haven't even been able to get on the call, because some folks can't get on the call at this particular time. So they missed the call, but they can go back and replay it, and they're hearing your questions, and it's helping them. So thank you very much for asking your questions and being brave to ask your questions. I hope you feel an environment is friendly for you to ask questions. We don't want to turn anybody away from anything that they have that they need to learn about their business, because that's what we're here for. So Thursday will be canceled. We will be traveling to Denver for the live event that will be this weekend, and we will not be doing webinar on Thursday. So you should get an email either late tonight or early tomorrow morning stating that that call's been canceled. And I usually remove the call from the actual GoToWebinar so that you can't accidentally even get on the call, because there won't be one there. I completely delete the call. So any case, that's what will be happening Thursday. And by way of informing you of something that hopefully will be good for you to know, I just came across this, believe it or not. I've been in the business for a while here, but I just found out that letterprinting.net. So now that's when you, those of you that are brand new, when you send, if you want to, have a mail house, letterprinting.net is one group that we use, a lot of our students use. And so what I'm displaying on the screen now is, letterprinting.net. These are the template files you send. They're basically a mail house that will allow you to send out your neutral letters. But I did just find out that they will allow you to, let's say you wanted to send out 1,000 letters, or at least 600 letters to 800 letters, because the more you send out, obviously you get a better price. You get a better price for the money that you're sending. So if you send out, let's say 1,000 letters, you send them 1,000 letters, you can actually set up if excuse me, I'm sorry. Y'all are sending in some nice comments. I really appreciate them. But with letterprinting.net, if you want to send out like a smaller batch each week, so let's say I wanted to take advantage of their pricing structure. So I wanted to get the benefit of sending out, let's say 600 or 1,000 records at a time. I could send them that 600 or 1,000 records. They would give me the price reduction, but then I could schedule them to only send out, let's say 200 of them a week. And if, let's say if I had 1,000 letters in there and I wanted to send 250 out a week, I could get the benefit of the pricing structure, the reduction, by sending them 1,000 letters today, or 1,000 records in my CSV file, and I could schedule 250 of them to be sent out this week, then wait till next week, next Monday or next Tuesday, send out another 250, then the following week, send out another 250. So you see, I've got my letters going out every week. They're scheduled to go out, but I've already received a price reduction. Of course, you have to pay up front. You're gonna pay for that. Excuse me. But then you can save money in the long run. And believe it or not, as long as I've been in the business, I normally send out so many each week, and the ones I send out are the ones I bring into Investment Dominator, and then I of course send them to letter printing. But this is even better, because if I wanted to send out a larger number, I could get even larger savings on my number of letters that I'm going to send out each week, and then have them scheduled, and maybe only do my letter printing once a month, as opposed to having to do it every week. That's also saves you time, so you can be managing something else. That's that was good to know that that is available to us. So just so you know, now I haven't done that in their system on their side, on LetterNet Printings or ITI side. So what I was advised to do is get on the phone with one of their representatives and let them walk you through how to set that up in your actual system itself. So in your orders that you put out each week, I think there's parameters that you have to specify so that they will schedule those batches to go out each week. So definitely get on the phone with one of their representatives. Don't just assume you can go in and do it yourself. Okay. All right, we've had questions already coming in here. One came from Teresa right now. So just want to let you know, if I don't get your question answered tonight, which I will do my very best to do, I will get it answered, by our next call. It'll be one of the first questions we come up with. We have a couple of questions to go through, and then I'll be able to take some of these questions, but some of these are pretty quick, like the one here with Teresa has asked, when letters come back undeliverable, is there an easy way to find them in Investment Dominator versus paging through all the names to code as skip trace? Okay. Okay, well, Teresa, the quickest way that I would know, let's just say we want to take record 281 here. This is John Henderson, and he's with Moore County. So if I had a letter come back, the quickest way that I would know in Investment Dominator is to go up here. You don't have to page through all the names, but you could do a search, just a simple search, and pull up his last name, or you could do an advanced search here, and you could say, let's see, his first name, let's say owner's last name, and we can say Henderson, I believe is what I said. And then we're going to add a rule. So you could do a complex search, and you could keep this search if you wanted to. And county is equal to MORE. Okay, hopefully that's the owner's name. And I could save this search if I wanted to save the search. But you're going to have to come in and modify it every single time. But anyway, we'll just do, let's see. So 1, something like that. And we'll say okay, and we do a search, and there you have it. Especially, and I would search on, the owner's last name and the county, just to make sure you get some type of hit. Now that's probably the quickest way I could think of doing it. I'm gonna take a little more thought on that, and but then of course once you have this, so I didn't page through to find his name. I just did a quick search, and as you can see, it takes me just a quick minute. And then you of course would come in here and edit it, and you would then set it up as a skip trace. That would probably, and then update your record. So you did that in a few minutes. It if I wanted to offload this type of work, I mean, quite honestly, I would probably set up a VA. In fact, our VA would actually do that. I would set somebody up in my team, have them be able to come in and edit the records. Is basically, you'd set them up as a rep, have them edit the records, and have the capability to come in and do just what I did, set up an advanced search and do the searching. But if you're going to do it yourself, that's probably the quickest way. You definitely don't have to page through all of these records. I mean, goodness, that would be very labor intensive trying to find each of those records. So I hope that gives you at least a little direction with what you could do there on searching. Okay, we had some come in right off the bat, even before we started the broadcast. We had some questions come in right off the bat. So I think Carlos had a question. Is there a tutorial? And this tutorial, okay, on how to filter. Okay, this I can tell right away. This sounds like a Excel question, actually. LLC, INC, LTD, Corp. Okay, so you want a tutorial so that you can go in and basically pull all the companies. Um, yeah, yes. So I got it. You want to be able to go in and pull the companies, and you don't want to have like a name. If a name had those in there, those letters in there. So if I was searching for LLC and someone's name had contained LLC, it would pull that record and it would remove that as well. Um, and you want to know how to change it, like if it have INC, so pull all your company information. And off the top of my head, Carlos, I don't know of a slick way to do that. That's an Excel question, actually. And I'm sure that we had some type of formula that took care of that. Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to look back because we went through handling all of those types of changes um, when we were first starting out, and we actually scrubbed our own list, our own county list. We soon got out of that business, and we found it better to send our scrub list to a VA. And we do have a VA that can really help you do any scrubbing you need. And I'll just put her name up there because she is really fantastic. Uh, at Gmail. Just for those of you that may be new and you haven't, maybe you haven't listened to the actual call where I listed, but it's called Your List Hero at gmail.com. And she's such a nice person to work with, and she is so very talented that whenever I get a chance, I send people her way. So she's one that could probably come up with, or probably has a formula that can actually go in and strip off um, those that are LLCs, Incs, and LTD without removing, those records that have that in their name. I would have to look back at my notes and get smart on that part of Excel again. I'm gonna make a note out here to check it so that if it's something I can think about between now and next Monday, I will get you a better answer for that on next Monday. Can't make any promises because, like I say, I don't consider myself an Excel expert at all. I just have done it over the years several different ways, so I've become more skilled at it, but definitely not at the level that a lot of these VAs are. They are just phenomenal in Excel. Okay. Um, pulling. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I see that. That real quickly. I can. I just got one question. It's really not investment dominator related, but it's because you all knew that I went to a wedding last weekend. You wanted to know, how did the wedding go? Well, I can honestly tell you it was one of the most phenomenal weddings, seriously, that we've ever had the pleasure of being involved in. The just the ceremony itself was different. Um, I won't go into it too much because we're on investment dominator time here. But I just want to tell you, it was absolutely beautiful. The setting was beautiful in Prescott. It was outdoors. The weather was perfect. There was no wind. It was beautiful, sunny day, but with these nice trees. And they had this one ceremony where the bride and the groom locked their hands, and then they wrapped different colored ribbons around the groom's hands and the bride's hands, signifying that they tie themselves together in a very spiritual manner, in a very um, connected manner. It was just the teaching of the wedding was different than I've ever experienced. So all in all, it was one of the most beautiful weddings I've ever been to, and would love to see it, that duplicated again. So thank you for asking. It was a great day and great time, and that's all we're going to say about that right now. But if I get any more opportunities, I will go into it. I did want to share with you all some more good news. Hopefully, this will kind of give you an idea. Those of you that are at the point where you are actually, well, a lot of you, some of you are at the point where you're more advanced because you've already gone through the 2-day workshop, and now you're at the point where you've marketed your property, and several of you that are even on the call have been able to get deals. So you've had folks call back and say, I accept your offer, and now you're marketing that property. You've decided to close on that property, and you've gone out and you may have even found a buyer. So different ones are at different levels, and I understand some of you are still looking to get that, hear those words, because every time I hear those words or I get an email, I have a dance that I do, um, because I am so happy. Remember, I came from a background where I made no money in real estate at all, flipping houses. So when we got our first deal where someone said, I accept your offer, and they said, now you can market this property. I was so happy, I just started dancing right there on the spot. So now every time we get I accept your offer, I do my little dance. And I also end up doing a dance when we sell a property. And this was one, I'm only sharing this with you because I want you to know the steps to prepare for self-closing. For self-closing. And of course, I don't recommend that you do this if you're brand new. Some of you that have done several deals, you may want to self-close some of your jobs. And I know this is not really Investment Dominator related, it's more the business. But I just wanted to share with you real quickly. We did have a deal that we just received a check for today, and it was 4.5 acre parcel that we paid $1,900 for. Really nice piece of land, and this was one that we happened to do a self-close on that property. And we did the self-close because we were able to do a title search. We used a company called ProTitle USA. That's PRO Title, Title USA. And we did this, and once we found out that the title was in pretty good, that we could go back even in the county records. As we search back, we could search back 30 years plus and see that only one person had owned this property 30 plus years. Now that you have a situation like that, you can rest assured that the title is probably in very good name. The land hadn't changed many hands. So we did a self-close. In order to do that, we solicited the help of a title abstractor. So that was Title USA to do an actual title search. We had to prepare, Federal Express packages to and from the mobile notary. So we used a mobile notary to actually go out to the seller. And when you close on a piece of property, you have to prepare a warranty deed. So you have to, get a warranty deed from the county and prepare that. And the actual seller that's going to sell us the property so we can close, they have to sign that warranty deed. So we got a mobile notary, and that cost us about $100 for that mobile notary. And what we did was we actually purchased a check for them. Remember, I told you it was $1,900. $1,900. And let me just share with you real quick here. I had written down the steps here. So just so that this is recorded, so now everything's on my screen is being recorded. So to do an actual close, if you want to do a self-close, we had the title abstractor, we prepared the FedEx packages to and from the notary, we prepared the warranty deed, got that from the county, and had the warranty deed sent to the seller. We had to have the seller sign that deed, and they had to notarize. That's why you had your mobile notary. They notarized, and we actually had a cashier's check in the hand of the mobile notary. So we had to send that cashier's check along with the warranty deed to the mobile notary. So then they would then take that out to the seller. And the seller, once the seller signed, because they could see their check right there in that mobile notary's hands. So they saw a check for $1,957.68. And as long as they signed that warranty deed, they got that check. So people get excited when they see their money right there and their names on it. So then we had to schedule a date actually for the seller to meet the mobile notary. And then the mobile notary gave him the check, got the signed documents, scanned them, and sent back the original deed to us. And then we follow up with a courtesy call just to make sure that the mobile notary and the seller got together and there's no issues. And the mobile notary took care of all that for us, and we closed on that property. And obviously, we already had a buyer. So basically, once we closed on this property from the mobile notary, the next day or so, next couple of days, we received our buyer then closed on that property, because we had to have, of course, that property to be put in our name so then we could legally sell it. And we sold it, and we pulled in a check for, I think it was 8,200 and some odd dollars, $8,200 basically, for that property. And we self-closed. Some people are talking about self-closing because it saves you some money. We didn't have a title company involved there, so it saved us some dollars in our pocket. And especially if you can look back. Now, again, we closed on it like that because we could look back in the county records and see that 30 plus years that title had been in one person's name. So there wasn't a lot of encumbrance on that title. And if you can go back 30 plus years, that's a good candidate for a self-close. Again, we don't advise brand new people brand new students to start to do self-closes. If you have some background in real estate, you might be able to do that just successfully. But we definitely, to be safe, yes. And we had a question there. Yes, is the mobile notary in the county? Yes, the mobile notary was in the county that we were actually selling the property, or it was a mobile notary that could handle. See, they have to be able to handle the county that your property is in, that the property is being sold in. So yes, and it so happened that the mobile notary was in that county. They handle that county, and then our seller obviously was not far from there. So they were in another county, but the mobile notary went to the seller. That also has to be checked out because obviously, if that wasn't the case, you would have to, you'd have some mailing that would have to go on between the mobile notary and the seller. But yes, the mobile notary was in the same county as the property and could handle that county, and they took care of that for us, and we saved about $600-$700 without using the title company to do this very same work. So those of you that might be looking for, when you get opportunities to do self closes and you want to save some money, that's one way you can save some dollars. Okay. So again, hope that's helpful for some of you that are there just starting out and you're interested in being able to close on property. So we have okay. Wow, we have quite a few questions coming in here. Let me see here if I can get this one. Owner's mailing address. Okay. So, Carlos, if owner's mailing, make sure I understand your question here. If owner's mailing address just shows P.O. Box, just mail it. Do you skip those? And when checking if owner lives far from the property, do we look at mailing address or physical address of owner? You always want to mail. You always want to mail to the physical address of the owner. That's the best way to make sure that you have a chance of getting to that owner. And even if it's a PO box, we don't skip as long as it's vacant land and it's not a company, it's an individual. We mail to the PO boxes. So just send the mail, send a letter to them. And even if the owner lives far from the property, you do want to always look at mailing to the physical address of the owner, because those are actually ones, if you think about it, those are actually the ones that you really want. We love some of our greatest deals. Person's been in New York, they live in New York, but the land is, in one of our states that we're dealing with, either Florida or North Carolina. It's wonderful to have them be living in another state altogether, because they may not have any emotional or tie to that property whatsoever, and they're people that will, they might be really fast to say, hey, give me an offer on that property. I'm just paying property taxes and I want to get rid of it. So hope that answers your question. I wanted to give a chance to demo here something for you. Some folks have been having some issues putting in their custom logos. How to add a custom logo. And I should, this is at least Investment Dominator related here, although we love those business questions because that really helps a lot of you answer questions that are in your mind, especially that are just now doing deals. And okay, so putting a custom logo, and I did want to go through this, so that we're talking about this information up here that says REI CRM. That's where your logo would actually physically go on. And I want to make sure I share with you some key points about this if you're deciding to do this. Some folks want to put this on their sites. You have a buying and a selling site. So let's look at this on your buying site here. I want to draw your attention to, so this would be your logo here, this REI CRM. Hopefully all of you can see that. Now there's two different ways. You can generate a logo for it, or you can upload a logo image. Now, if I were to upload a logo image, I just left clicked on that, and here I'm on my page where I have two different image files. One is a PNG image. As I hover over that, you can see that's a PNG image. The other is a JPEG image. Now, I just want to make sure you understand from the standpoint of Investment Dominator the difference between these two. The PNG, both of them are just fine to upload, so either one will work, but it's just that there's some different nuances about each one. This one here, so I'm gonna left click and select. You see how the background where it says CRM, the background changes to the very color of my background of my screen. So what I want you to understand is this portion of your image, there's a portion of the image for a PNG type file that's going to be completely transparent, even though it shows, so it's going to show the color of whatever the background it lands on. So that's something to keep in mind when you're uploading your logo. If you upload it as a PNG, there's a certain portion of that that may be transparent. So you just have to keep that in mind when you're bringing it into the Investment Dominator. And if you are thinking about uploading a logo, just the dimensions. Notice the dimensions are. Let me see if I can get over that. Okay, dimensions are 207 by 54 pixels. So 207 207 pixels wide by 54 pixels high. So that's the size of your any logos that come into the Investment Dominator. They need to be dimensions 207 by 54. So anybody that's bringing in, uploading their images would be able to figure out how to make it that size. So I'm going to left click on that. It always brings you into this cropping tool. And you want to make sure now, remember, we said there's a portion over here that's going to be transparent because it's a PNG. So you want to make sure you include that, and you're going to have to crop it. So you're going to have to select enough of this so that it includes your transparent portion here. And you'll just say confirm. All right, so another thing I want you to know about bringing in custom images for your logos. You can't ever erase if there's ever been a logo there or there is a logo there. You cannot erase a logo. All you can do is replace it. So I'm going to now replace the CRM, REI CRM, with this color, green color, REI, and then you can't see the CRM here, even though it's there, because obviously this is white. And the CRM, if you remember, on when I selected it, CRM showed up in white, okay? So I'm going to bring that in, and if I say update here, come down and update my site. All right, so now that logo should be in place when I go back to my sites and I look at my buying site. There it is, REI CRM. And remember, because this is transparent, CRM was in white, it just shows up the background color. So you have to keep that in mind when you use a PNG type file. So if we did the same thing, see, we're gonna do the buying site, we're gonna come back and I'm gonna say upload image, and this time I'm gonna use the JPEG. So all I'm doing is double clicking, I bring that in, and remember, it's just a large black background, but it's going to take whatever part you crop and it's going to bring it into Investment Dominator. So I'm just cropping that part, and it really doesn't even take all, doesn't even take all that. Now once you get it in here, you can move your box around a little bit to make it fit, pretty easily. You can adjust it a little bit here so that it's not so big. Okay, so now Investment Dominator is going to take just the part that I cropped, and I'm going to say confirm here. Okay, why is it asking me to do that again? Okay, here we go. And crop it, then confirm. Investment Dominator brings it in, and I'm going to go down here and say update site. Look at my sites again, the buying site, and there we have the image. Now that's just one that has already that you have on your system that you want to bring in, you want to upload. The same particular, if you wanted to update or generate one, this is the other part of this I wanted to make sure you understand. I'm going to enter a name of a company here, and we'll just leave it at that. Now we're going to select a font based on these letters, and there's a lot of fonts that you can choose here. Let's just pick this one, PT Sans Narrow. It's going to come in, as you can see, as this logo preview. If I want to select an icon, now here's what is, I want you to understand. If you're going to be able to scroll down, because you can see every time I try to go over here and pull down the scroll down bar, my bar disappears. Now this is just something, this is the way it is in Investment Dominator. You have to lay it right here on the blue select icon. So that's where my cursor is. Now I'm using the wheel on my mouse to scroll down. That's something that we hadn't taught people even in the 2-day. So people were not understanding how to scroll. They were still trying to come over here, which should be normal. They should be able to do that. You can also put it there in the middle, and you can hit your down arrow key on. You should be able. Oh, that's changing my font. Okay, left click. There you go. Once you left click on that select icon, then you can use your down arrow or your up arrow, and you can scroll up or scroll down. This is just the way it is within Investment Dominator right now. So wanted you to be aware. But if you wanted to put in your own, let's say I wanted to select this icon, and here's my icon, and WM Agape, if I wanted to have those be a different color. This is something we kind of go through real fast in our 2-day workshop. So want to make sure folks understood how to get this right. So I'm trying to choose a yellow, something that would, let's say okay. All right, so this is going to be our new logo, and I'm just going to say insert logo. And again, this is what's going to be, and you can do this on your buying site and your selling site. Just wanted to give you guys an idea of how to handle that. And we're updating our site, and we did it on the buying site, and there's our generated logo. So you can generate logo, or you can update one. And that is basically how you do it. And of course, if I want to go back and set that back to any of the logos I can upload into my image again, select CRM, crop it, confirm, and voila, there's my, so that's kind of straightforward. Hopefully, I usually leave it on this so that I can demonstrate that easily. Leave it on REI CRM. So that's how you either upload a logo or create one. Now we had a question. We have a few questions that came in around this. Okay. What does CRM stand for? Okay, CRM stands for Customer Relation Management Tool. And that is actually what Investment Dominator is. Investment Dominator, all of Investment Dominator is a CRM. It's a customer relationship management tool. It helps you manage all of your customers, and it helps you to basically organize all of your records that deal with your customers. And this is a major CRM. That's why it's just because it helps you handle all your buyers, if your land deals or if your house deals, and all we're doing is managing the relationships with our customer community. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we have some questions that came in, and then some folks. Okay, they're asking also, very good questions. Is there a way to decrease the font size on, oh, I'm sorry, that was a different question. I thought it was around our logo, but anyway, I'm going to go and answer. This question is from Kathy. And Kathy wants to know, is there a way to decrease the font size on the Investment Dominator generated signature? Okay. The font size on ID signature. And the answer to that is no. She's talking about right here under my profile, and we have generate signature. So I have the actual only way to do that is to actually add more characters to your name. So if I were to come in here and put so a long name like that, and I were to select a font, you'll see it will, because it's trying to fit it into a predefined area, it's going to make the letters smaller. So if I say insert signature here, you can see the only way to decrease the size of the font actually is by adding characters to the actual name or space to the actual name. You can see where Warren Davis here is much larger in letters, which does bring me up with an idea. I'm going to try something here real quick. Let's see if I put John Smith. See, you actually have to have characters. It won't even do it with spaces. I was thinking if I put enough spaces in here, maybe, but it's still it's got to be characters typed. So you actually have to have a long name or put in some other kind of characters. I don't know how you would do that in your signature, because you don't want to do stuff like that. Put in just weird characters. But the more characters you put in, basically, the smaller your font is going to be. Quite honestly, that's the only way I could think of off the top of my head to change that and insert. And you really don't want that as a signature. So right now, the only way that you could have a smaller font is to have a longer name, which that may not be the answer you're looking for. But in any case, that's what we have for you there. And we did have another question. Okay. Okay, this is more of a business question too, but it's important. So if we have, it came from Balim, if we have a property address. Okay, a property address. Do we still need to fill in the latitude, longitude? Yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Longitude. Okay, Balim, that's a good question. It's a very good question because a lot of folks, in the county, as you're searching the different counties, whether it's and one you could be very familiar with, a lot of times the counties, as you come back with some of these records, may have a property address. So they, the county is populating something in property address, city, and state. And so Balim's question is, if we have a property address, do we still need to deal with the longitude, latitude? And I am going to say, yes, you still want to do that. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's oftentimes when the county does have an address in here that it's not correct. So you want to make sure that, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. if the county might, let's just say, have an address populated, and you stick that address in here, I would, every time in my analysis, when someone comes back and says, hey, I would like to have an offer sent to me, not, just people I've just sent a neutral letter to, and they say, okay, I want to get an offer, and they say my property address is Lillington, and this might be in, it's going to say North Carolina, okay, and of course they might put in a zip code here, but in any case, I'm not going to just take the county's word that this address is correct. I'm going to take this county address, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go into Google Maps. I mean, this is just my process now. You all may come up with a better way, but I'm going to always actually fill that in to and see if that address actually pops up. Now, if, as you can see here, right here, I have 543 Mount Olive Church Road in Lillington. Now that is consistent with what the county says, the city the county says that's in. But a lot of times what the county will do, instead of it being 543 Mount Olive, they might put in, 541 Mount Olive. And they'll put this in as the property address when actually it's the house right next to our property that you might be looking at. So you always want to verify that the county is correct by doing your analysis, coming in to Google Maps, and you stick this in, and then you go in and select it, and hopefully, yeah, this comes out 543. So what you should have is a county map that shows this exact parcel and the location of this parcel. So you can make sure. And once you have this in Google Maps, all you do is put your cursor right there on the tip of this red ball, this red insignia here, icon, and you do a left click, and it goes, what's here? And when you select what's here, it should tell you this address, 543. And if you get this much information that is correct, and it tells you 27546 is a zip code, here's your latitude and longitude right here. So, and there's a way to do this in Investment Dominator. I have found, I like checking with, I'm just in the habit of checking with Google Maps to make sure. But since I have the address, I have the location of that parcel, again, I did a right click with my mouse and I say, what's here? And this pops up. Okay, well now I've got my latitude and longitude, and I actually leave that in the address, and I put or here, they can use the actual physical address. Now this is how I would save this record, just like you see here, because when you're building your ads and you get to the point where you want to put this on your website, this is the information that's going to show the property coordinates or the physical address. And trust me, you want to make sure you verify this physical address because, and we have made this mistake, we have taken the county's word, then we've sent folks out to, let's say the county says it's 541 when it's actually 543, but there's never been an address there. And we've taken the county's word, sent people out to the wrong address, and trust me, that looks bad on your company. That it shows that you didn't do your due diligence. You didn't check out the address before you sent people out. Because one of the first things your buyers, when they call in, they're gonna say, hey, I need to go see that property. Well, what do you think is easier for them to put in this property coordinates? For some young folks, it might be. Folks like me and more old school, I like to see an actual physical address. So if you got a physical address for me, I'm going to take that over those coordinates, and I'm going to try to go out and look at this property based on what you say is the physical address. Trust me, you want to be right on this. So so you don't get embarrassed. And you know, I've been there before, so that's just one of the things I hope you learn from my hard knocks. Um, don't be embarrassed. Do your due diligence, check out the county, and make sure that the address is right. Okay, so let me see if there's anything I can catch here before I get off the call. Okay, I think I answered Carlos. Let's see. Okay, Shirley has a question here. I may have to get into this one on our next call, which will be next Monday. But Shirley, let me see. How can I change the information on my buying site and selling site? The information is incorrect on the Contact Us page and doesn't seem to be pulling from my company information. Okay. What I need to do, Shirley, is I actually need to see probably need to see your buying site or your selling site, whichever information you want to, that's not correct. Let's say if your information was not correct on your selling site. So the contact us is not correct. Let's see. Your buying site. Okay, this contact us. Yeah. This is contact us on the buying site. It has XYZ, which is the company, 123 Main Street, Phoenix. This is the phone number. This information. So I think Investment Dominator is pulling it correctly. So I'd have a couple of questions. If you're selling and your buying site, okay, the phone number and company name address is incorrect. Okay. Well, I do know that Investment Dominator pulls directly from your company information. So the phone number and company name address is not correct. So the first place I would check, which is a simple check, and I'm not trying to, that's what I was going to check. It's correct in the company information here. Okay. And it's not correct when you go to the buying site, is what I'm hearing. This contact us. Okay. So let me ask you a quick question here. If your buying site, was your buying site set up through GoDaddy, or do you have another domain provider other than GoDaddy? That would be another place. Okay, if your buying site and selling site was set up through GoDaddy, that sounds like a question I really would like to see. If you could, just let me research this, Shirley. I really want to research this and get back to you. What is your, let's say, your buying site? What's your buying site domain name? What is that? If you could type that in. Okay. That's your buying site. All right. I like that name. That's cool. Okay. TheLandPal.com. Okay. Let me check it real quick. Okay. Looks good. Contact us. And you're saying this phone number here is what it sounds like. The phone number here, you're saying is, and the Set up through GoDaddy, phone number and company name. So S&W Equity Holdings is not correct. Okay. Okay. Well, now I feel like playing the Twilight Zone theme song. Okay. Okay. Okay, well just let me check just real quick before we get off the call. What is this is your buying site. What's your selling site domain? I will should be SW squared. Okay. Now you're making this. I'm going to get to the bottom of this one, Shirley. This is making me very, very curious. Okay. I'll have to look into this. We're out of time right now, but thank you for bringing this up because I want to find out what is going on with that myself. That looks like you should be in good shape. You're looking good so far, is what I'm seeing. So we'll find out what's going on with Investment Dominator there. Let's see. Just want to leave this thought with you all. Patience and perseverance have a magical effect before which difficulties disappear and obstacles vanish. So with patience and perseverance, just patience and perseverance cause difficulties and obstacles to disappear. That's from John Quincy Adams, a quote that I want to leave with you all. I want you all to have a safe remainder of your week. And those of you coming to Denver, I look forward to seeing you there in person. And that's all we have time for today. Have a good week, folks. We'll see you right back here next Monday at 5 p.m. And I will find out, Shirley, what's going on with your issue here. Thanks, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye now.